It's 12 and Up, Season 10, Episode 4, with your host Jonathan Malone and guest host Cheryl Harris and Darren Collins. 12 and Up is a podcast about Christian faith and culture in the modern age. Your host Jonathan Malone is the pastor of the First Baptist Church of East Greenwich, Rhode Island. Cheryl Harris is the pastor of the First Baptist Church of Attleboro, Massachusetts. And Darren Collins is the pastor of the Berean Baptist Church of Burrillville, Rhode Island. Woo! We have the whole population of Burrillville here. This podcast is brought to you by the Sunday afternoon nap, giving purpose and reason for watching bowling and golf on TV. And the 2006 internet meme, "This is Sparta." How much time do we have left? I have one more sponsor. According to Siri, the best song of the 1990s, Technotronics' Pump Up the Jam. And we're back. Okay. How many people know that song, Pump Up the Jam? Wow, actually, enthusiastically.
Absolutely.
You know that song?
I don't know that song.
Yeah. You're not. I will not. And you're not any lesser for not knowing it.
Thank you.
I know it.
I figured you would.
You figured I know it.
I figured you would know it, Terry. So, very excited to have both of you here today. Cheryl, pastor in Attleboro, Massachusetts.
Happy to be here.
Tell us a gem of Attleboro.
Capon Park is the gem of Attleboro. It's a beautiful park, and it's in the center of the city, and it also houses an animal zoo, which people come to visit.
Oh, very good. How many, so of our audience, who here has been to Attleboro? So a couple, yeah, so people willing to cross state lines. Who's been to Capon Park? Oh, some of you have. Okay, so you know what she's talking about, a real gem.
Yeah.
And so you're the pastor at the First Baptist Church there.
I am.
A fine church, from what I understand. I haven't been able to make it to worship yet.
Well, because you're busy on Sunday.
I know, but someday, hopefully, I'll be able to get out.
Would be welcome. No, sounds wonderful.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being here, too. Thanks for driving all this way, yeah. All the way from Massachusetts.
I know, I crossed state lines and
Yeah.
everything. Got on 95 South.
Customs was okay?
Yeah. They didn't ask too many questions.
That's good.
Overnight bag.
Yeah, you did. Well, she's not a Rhode Islander. This is not a long drive. For, you do a lot of work in Boston, too, right?
I do. I'm also a consultant. I have a consulting business, Cheryl Harris and Associates, Inc., which is focused on diversity and inclusion, team development, and leadership coaching. So that takes me into Boston because I have a number of corporate and non-profit clients.
How long of a drive is that from Attleboro to Boston?
Oh my gosh, some days it's forever.
And do you pack a lunch when you go?
And you need to, I keep snacks in the car
Oh,
for
okay,
sure.
good. So maybe there is a bit of a Rhode Islander in you.
It's becoming more and more. I've lived in Attleboro for 5 years. I think Boston feels further and further away, particularly when you get on 93 and traffic crawls to 20 miles an hour. And you're only 10 minutes from your destination, but it takes you an hour to get there.
You got to start doing business in Providence.
I
That's
think
what
so.
hear.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Providence will welcome you. Darren Collins.
Yes, sir.
Darren is a pastor in Berean Baptist.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell folks why your church is called Berean Baptist and not First Baptist of Burrillville?
I really don't remember.
Does anyone know why the name Berean is a commonly used name for some churches?
In the book of Acts.
Thank you. Yes, it's in the Book of Acts. It's mentioned in the Bible, so that's all you
The
need.
community in Berea was known for their knowledge of the scriptures, for studying the scriptures.
And I understand that.
As long as there's not a Patriots game on at 1.
We have to hurry up.
You have to hurry up.
When is the Patriots game tomorrow?
6:40.
6:40?
So we can have a long
Start all
service.
day tomorrow for church. We're just going to have church till church is done tomorrow.
Yeah. But no, that idea of sitting,
None of this 60 minutes
No,
stuff.
that's why we can take our time.
Take our time.
how long is the church service at Berean? You
You
gotta remember
75 minutes?
Is it?
No, it's like an hour.
It's longer than an hour.
How long is
Just ask April Beth from now on.
I have to know, in my culture, service can be really long, but I've been at Attleboro for 5 years and I've been confined to 1 hour. My sermons are 20 minutes, and that is it. That's right.
Wow.
No, don't play.
Don't play. There's a Patriots game on. Don't
Hey,
play.
anything could happen. But an hour, 1 hour. If you come late, you'll miss it.
For example, when was the last time we had a service that lasted just an hour?
They say much longer.
Yeah, it was a snow day, yeah. It's been a while, but they're not over an hour and a half.
Please invite me.
Last Sunday was an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah. You don't even look at the clock.
I didn't.
That's right.
All right, so sitting in delight.
Sitting in delight.
Sitting in
Don't
delight.
take absence from your interest in the things that you feel like you need to do. I just thought that this whole notion of rest is becoming foreign to us. We just go from one thing to the next thing, next thing. And God says, take a break. You deserve a break today. So, yeah, that's what I...
Isn't that a restaurant chain? Or do you deserve a break
Yeah, I
today?
think it's a contemporary interpretation.
Oh, and McDonald's? Did you know that McDonald's was pro-Sabbath?
Yeah, so McDonald borrowed from God.
Yeah, apparently goes Isaiah McDonald's. House.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes you have to contemporize things so people can get it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Sabbath is you can take a break today.
And what about...
Don't go to McDonald's. Maybe that is your
There goes
Sabbath.
your
I don't know.
sponsorship, Jonathan.
I was so close.
Cut that part out.
Some sponsored money from McDonald's, but oh well. A fine corporation of high moral standards.
Take delight in the Lord. Let's go back to that.
Now, what about, so, do others have, routines or things that they do that feeds them? April Beth?
Every morning I try to do some contemplative passive meditation, using the Psalms typically. And I also crochet and knit. And I don't work like a normal person. And so I don't need a day of Sabbath.
Right.
But I do have a life that is filled with stress and sometimes very traumatic. And so I found the act of creating and the act of reflection on how the Word shapes us has been a very helpful way for me to find that rest in the divine, which I think is what Sabbath really is.
So, I'm echoing back what people say, because there's no microphone, just to make sure everyone hears it, so that morning contemplative prayer is very important, reading through the Psalms, crocheting and knitting, which I understand are two different things.
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, one has one needle, one has two needles?
One has a hook, and one has 2 needles.
Oh my god, alright, so crocheting and knitting are different. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know more than that. But that being creative is part of what I hear you saying, that creative act for you is a way of being grounded and continuing to grow in your relationship with God. Do other people do things that they would say is a creative act? And you can be as broad as you want.
I don't know if this is necessarily creative, but I do find that when I do yoga, I don't think about, it's like one of the only times I can't think about anything else except what I'm doing. And then at the end, I'm always like, I not on purpose, just all of a sudden I'm like super grateful for that my body works. Like you were saying about with the lawnmower, like all of a sudden I'm flooded with like gratitude beyond belief that I can move my body and that it works. And it just happens by accident.
That's one. So doing that yoga, I mean, you can't really focus. So your mind is just on the moment, which is, mindfulness is one of the hot new things. But there's something really about that, about trying to just be present in the moment. That's kind of what I heard you saying, April Beth, with passive contemplative prayer. Just letting the thoughts happen, but you have to be focused on what you're doing with yoga, so you don't tie yourself in a knot. You want to understand. But then that gratitude that comes after that, which can be really, really wonderful. And that gratitude is such a strong and important part of Sabbath. I think to be able to say, Linda, I kind of heard that with you a little bit in after worship, being thankful to be able to come to church and to be able to have that experience, to be grounded again. you didn't say gratitude, but I heard that in part of what you were saying.
There's another thing I didn't even say, and that's, you're so busy during the week, and Bill and I can be like, you know, this, and maybe not even saying wonderful things to each other, but then when we're sitting there in church for a solid hour, we're next to each other, and we find that we're holding hands, and when we sing, our arms around each other, or sometimes when the choir sings, I cry. So I feel like for that hour, I'm finally, you know, really focused and in sync.
There's something to be said about the practice of worship where we it's not something that requires us on our smartphones. It's not something that, you know, has a lot of other distractions, especially the three of us still use somewhat of a classical style of worship to a degree, right, Darren? You haven't gone to the praise band?
No.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, you could say it's an old-fashioned, or some may say arcane or outdated, but there's something about that. I would say that, you know, since we are taking a break from the overstimulation, we're taking a break from the constant demands on our attention and being in the moment. And then you can be aware of the people next to you, the people around you. There are many times in worship where people said, I want to listen to your sermon, but you know, like I know you did. But there was this baby in front of me, and I just couldn't help but keep looking at the baby. And you know what? That's wonderful. First, it's wonderful that there's a baby in church. Where's the parents? But that there's a baby that it brings joy, and you're watching it, and you know that's part of. I think for me that's part of worship too, to be aware of the community and to find delight in that, and God's a part of that. Any other things that people do for rest or to reclaim or center themselves again? It doesn't have to be on a Sunday or just during the week. So before we wrap up, I'm going to ask both of you to give one bit of advice. If you could give, you know, the one short bit of advice to people about how, you know, about concerning Sabbath, what would it be? And Darren, I'm going to give you a little bit to think.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to what the good Reverend has to say over here, and then I might agree. Say ditto.
No, you're not allowed to just agree or say ditto. You have to. You got to come up with your own thing.
You know, as I was listening to the responses, what came to mind is ritual and how important ritual is. And when we have a ritual, something that adheres to it, and I think that within itself creates spiritual growth.
And it takes a long time for a ritual to become a habit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really does.
So you have to work at it. It's mechanical at first, but then it becomes part of who you are.
Yeah. All right, Darren.
I really just want to say ditto.
Nope. Nope.
That was really good.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
You can't be on the podcast with me anymore. You're just too good.
I'm following you around there. And not just on Twitter.
I think I'm just going to, since you're not going to let me steal from you, I will just steal from Kurt Byron Jones from
That's also very
from
good.
Andover Newton, who talks a lot about savoring pace. I think that has always been influential, especially if we're going to kind of be a little bit open about this and think there can be Sabbath moments.
Yeah.
That we are aware of these simple things that we can savor. Whether that's I'm trying to think of what it is. Like a lot of people say sunrise, but I'm never awake for one, so I don't care for them.
They're going to happen anyway, so why bother?
That's right. I mean, so that's not it. But I mean, whatever it is, every once in a while I'll catch my daughter walking around the house singing, and it's inevitably Katy Perry, which I can't get on board with her either. But to hear her little voice singing is one of those.
Is this Katy Perry or your daughter?
Yeah, no, Katy Perry doesn't come to my house and sing.
Oh,
no, that's another podcast too. Anyway, my daughter singing is to savor that moment, or my oldest son came with us to the vigil for on poverty.
Yeah.
So that moment of walking with him to the State House was a moment to savor. I mean, whether it's something that's, you know, a grand gesture kind of moment to savor, or just those simple moments. You know, something cooking in the kitchen and the aroma fills the house, or something, you know, special. We're going to be celebrating a 95th birthday of someone in church tomorrow. That's a unique event. So to just be aware of those moments to savor, and maybe that's a seed for this.
Yeah.
This ritual. Yeah.
All right. Well, geez.
I really did just piggyback on what she said.
No,
it's just obvious. Yeah.
You added more. You added depth and riches.
Yes, that's right.
So, and I guess if I had to try to add anything else, I would continue with the musical approach, because it's my want. To name those places where it feels like there's dissonance in your life. You know, where do you ache a little more than other places? And maybe start there with that ritual or moments of savoring and say, how do I find balance again, find harmony again? How can I invite God into this dissonance and let it sing in the way that God wants it to sing? Now, there's so much more we could have covered. There's so much more we could have talked about, and we didn't, but we are at time. So again, I want to thank the Reverend Darren Collins, pastor of Berean Baptist Church in Burrowville, Rhode Island, and the Reverend Cheryl Harris, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Attleboro, Massachusetts. Let's give them an applause. All of you here, thank you very much for all of your help. I wanted to send a special thank you to the Women's Alliance. They donated all of the food so that all the proceeds goes directly towards our mission trip in Nicaragua. A month from today, we'll be on the plane. Hopefully a month from today, we'll be in Managua, avoiding mosquitoes. So thank you to Women's Alliance for that. Thank you for the kitchen crew. Thank you to Kohl's for all of your help. I know that you've got all the cleaning up to do, but we're going to help you out. Thank you, everyone. And thank you all for being here. And I hope you have a good night. Get some rest. Church tomorrow and Saturday. Thank you.
Go back.
Okay, yeah, go back. Go Barcelona.
Everybody sing.
It's 9 o'clock on Saturday.